Well, good evening, wrestling fans. Welcome to High School Wrestling Weekly, hosted by the Double Eagle Clubhouse Grill. Once again, it's the Hager Hirsch-Zelt High School Wrestling Weekly. Once again, we're live from Double Eagle Clubhouse Grill. I'd like to thank all of our sponsors that allow us to speak wrestling every week. I'd like to thank the big crowd that showed up here tonight. And Dane, there was a great weekend of wrestling down at Jay County, and I think that Jay County Regional has become something to fear with Delta as strong as they are coming out of there. The Fort Wayne SemiState fears a draw coming out of that Jay County Regional.
Absolutely, and how about the day that Belmont had? I mean, right up there with Delta to the point where about midway through that second round of the semifinals, I thought that Belmont was going to have a chance to maybe challenge Delta for the overall team lead.
Now, if you hang out a little bit and you look on YouTube and stuff, there's a guy that runs that Hit the Mats YouTube channel. He interviewed Tim, and Tim on there said, you know, we scored more points than I thought we would against Delta, and was quite pleased with the way they wrestled. You know, you drop a couple matches here and there, but he was very satisfied the way that they wrestled on Saturday.
Absolutely, and I think they put themselves in a position where they are still contenders for a semi-state title. I think if you look at what's happened the last 3 or 4 years at the Fort Wayne semi-state, and then you remove Rochester from that, I still think it's wide open. Yeah. I really do. I think you have, for Belmont, you have 3 really strong contenders to advance and a couple of wild cards in there, but when you talk about Martin and Myers and Davis, you know, who's to say that they're not all 3 going to reach the finals and score some major points? And if you can put 3 guys in the finals, you are absolutely in position to win the team title, because, you know, all it takes is one upset to lose 12, 15, 20 points in the morning. And we're going to look at the draws later on in the show, but I think Belmont's going to be right there with everybody else at the top of the team title.
And then I know that South Adams, we talked to South Adams the first time in years that they had a couple of guys that looked like they were going to be state qualifiers, and they got some really good draws, you said. And I tell you what, I was really impressed with Colton Bollenbacher on Saturday. I thought he wrestled really well, and then so impressed with Tony Wood. And I think Tony Wood is still even a class of this Fort Wayne semi-state.
Yeah, probably. If you want to look at guys from the Jay County Regional who have the best chance of wrestling under the lights, I think you have to put Tony Wood's name right up there with Duke Myers and Keegan Martin as far as the best chances. Tony's looked outstanding all year long. He's built his whole career for this moment, and I know you were ahead of me in line in the lunch line on Saturday, but Bruce Wood walked by, and he had a whole plate of food, and there was no buns, there was no bread, there was nothing. And Brian Jordan was behind me. He said, Bruce is trying to fit into his suit for being under the lights.
And that's not a stretch by any means.
No, I don't think it is. I think anybody who's seen Tony wrestle the last 3 weekends, like you and I have, know that it's a possibility for sure.
He looked sharper on Saturday because he had a nice clean haircut too.
Must be something like that. He must
look crisp.
Get that sharp haircut look from his uncle Nat.
I guess maybe.
We'll see. Hey, we got a great show in store for you today. We're going to use the first period to break down all of the highlights from Saturday's broadcast. We got a couple of audio highlights to play for you and talk about some of the results and comment on those. We're also going to be joined by the Indiana Mat rankings guru, Mike Reiser, as he tells us a little bit about how the rankings held up and what the big upsets were on Saturday. Then in the second period, we're going to run the whole gamut through all of our local regional champion coaches. We're going to talk to the head coach of the New Haven Bulldogs, Jimmy Linn.
Because we didn't talk to him last week,
who won a regional title. We're going to talk to Cody LeCount, who won a regional title for Delta. We also have phone interviews scheduled with Andy King from Oak Hill. They had a dominant day at the Peru Regional. And then we'll also talk to Sam Riesen. He may or may not be driving in his truck on the way home from Center Grove tonight. We'll see. I told him he should have just stopped here on his way home. And he said, my wife and kids would have just gotten in the car and left without me. I didn't want to drive all the way back up north. So he's going to call us from there. And then at the end of the day, end of the night, we're going to talk about these semi-state ticket round matchups and some of the things that you can look forward to on Saturday. Once again, we've got a great crowd in front of us, a couple of familiar faces who are back to listen to the show. And Rex, it's going to be a great week. It's been a wild weekend between the girls basketball sectionals and wrestling regional, but we're starting to hone in By the end of the night, you'll be able to look on. The girls' swimming season is vorbei, as they say in German now. It's gone. Delta, you thought they had a good day in wrestling. They won every single event on Saturday in the swim sectional except one.
That's a dominance.
A dominating day, and we'll have highlights of that. We had our photographers out running from gym to pool, back and forth. And then on Thursday on WZBD, we've got a great basketball game as Belmont has a chance to clinch at least a share of the NE8 boys basketball title, something they've never done before. Make sure you tune in for that. That's Thursday night from DeKalb. And then on Friday, we've got AC versus South Adams in boys basketball. And Saturday, we've got a combination of wrestling semi-state and IU Purdue in college basketball.
So last night I was busy, and as my Canadian friends I used to work with say, I was zooting a boot. And I turned on the old WZBD, and Maki and Luke Koenig were on, and it's the third quarter, and Belmont's within 5 points of Norwell in a basketball game, and I was like, I'm going to have to listen to this and stay tuned. And, they kind of got pulled away at the end, and the score didn't look as close as it was because they had to start following at the end. But, nobody thought Belmont was even going to be in that game, and they hung with Norwell. But then Kennedy Fuelling couldn't find the net. She couldn't miss the net the night before. She couldn't find the net last night, and she had 29 points one night. But I tell you what, I think the Belmont girls should be very proud of what they did this season.
Absolutely. Randy Heisner tagged it along last night with Mike and Lou, and he wrote a great story on the game. You can find that all on WZBD.com, along with the audio interviews, both from the broadcast and that Randy did with Norwell and Belmont girls and coaches. And there's all kinds of information on there. And Norwell's going to be playing at Caston on Saturday. Do you have that on your log of high school gyms?
I have never been to Caston High School.
Well, Norwell fans are going to be there, so that's on Saturday. Beyond that, I would say that Saturday was a great day of wrestling, and for as dominating as it felt like Delta was, don't forget they only had 3 champs.
Yeah.
Belmont had 3 champs, and as you look forward once again to that semi-state team scoring, if you are an avid predictor of brackets, I would urge you to fill out your brackets and tally up your team score and see what you find, because I think you will find a very entertaining team race on Saturday.
Now, I asked you on air, how did your Jay County sectional champs versus Delta sectional champs come out?
Well, it wasn't as lopsided as it was at Jeffersonville. Listen to this. 56 winners in the first round. 10 of them came from Jeffersonville. 46 came from the Jennings County sectional. That's wild. Those are some big numbers. I don't remember. I had the number.
It was 8-6, I think, wasn't it?
It was, yes, for champions, it was 8-6.
8-6.
And I'm trying to remember how many it was for the overall.
Placers that made it out.
Yeah, the Jay County sectional did really, really well. That's for sure.
Well, while you're looking that up, we got
to give a shout out.
Okay.
Ike Rubel won a varsity match for Purdue today, and it was
crowd.
Awesome.
So with that, we've ended the weigh-in section. Let's send it back to the studio to Steve Rouse running the board for us. Back with more talk on High School Wrestling Weekly right after this on WZBD.
When faced with the difficult task of making arrangements for your loved one, many emotions and questions arise. What would they want me to do if they were here? Where is the money coming from? How much should I spend? Do they want burial or cremation? The staff at Haggard, Hershey, and Zelt Funeral Home can help you navigate these tough questions. Make your wishes known and allow us to make sure that your wishes are carried out. Call Ryan Hershey or Eric Zelt at 260-724-7167 to schedule an appointment today.
Hi, this is Joel at Decatur Package Liquors, locally owned since 1965. I promise competitive prices and the best service in town. We offer bulk buy discounts for weddings, graduation parties, and other big celebrations. Special orders are also available and highly recommended. Don't forget about Wine Wednesday, where you get the best savings. Come on, guys, it's where your friends shop.
Decatur Package Liquors, with the best service and variety in town, now with locations in Monroe, Byrne, and Markle. Based out of the Indiana Tech Wrestling Facility, the Warrior Regional Training Center is an elite training center for youth wrestlers, high school wrestlers, and college and senior level athletes. Featuring a college coaching staff with a strong history of developing talent and producing results, Warrior RTC will give any wrestler quality training partners to push them to new levels in the state-of-the-art 25,000 square foot wrestling building. The training is affordable and private training is also available. Put Warrior RTC in your corner this season.
Welcome back once again to the Hager Hershey Delta High School Wrestling Weekly, hosted by Double Eagle. Once again, we're live from the Double Eagle Clubhouse Grill. Dane, we flipped the script now. We're on the other end of the building.
I can't even see everybody over there.
The Ellsworth party kind of took our end down there, so we're on stage. We're sitting higher than everybody. I told Jason, just put us down here every time. We'll just be the feature attraction. We'll be up on stage here. And
That's not bad. We only have one Sunday left here.
That's right.
Next Sunday's the big Sunday, and we're on Monday night because of the Super Bowl. And then the following Sunday, the season's over. Hard to believe. I don't know. I still don't know if we're going to be able to make it back at 7 o'clock on that Sunday.
Now, there's people that have asked us to do this all year long.
I don't know, Rex.
Once a month, maybe.
Hey, we're going to take a look here in the first period about the highlights from the lower weights at the Jay County Regional. Obviously, it starts and ends with that pair of Delta lightweights in Boyd and Bollinger. Boyd's ranked number 1. We talked about Bollinger a lot last year. How far are those two going to go based on what you saw on Saturday?
I don't know. I thought last year Bollinger was just walking there, and then he ran into Jake Hockaday and told us that we were wrong. But I tell you what, Bollinger has just looked so strong in the matches that we've seen him. He will go a long way. Depend how his bracket goes and how he lines up. I mean, he could go to state finals, and it would not surprise anyone here in this area.
And, of course, we talk about it so many times when you got two talented guys that are in the same weight class. They just seem to build each other up. And you see it so many times, even in small schools with not a strong wrestling background. You'll see a guy who's ranked top 5, and then all of a sudden, one weight lower or one weight higher, there's some guy that sneaks in unranked. Why? Because he's been banging on that guy all season long. Like we said, Boyd ranked number 1. And Bollinger ranked number 3. Bollinger reached the semifinals last year at 106 pounds. And
they're not giving him any love, are they? Where's he at?
We'll see.
Where's Bollinger at 13?
Bollinger's ranked number 3 right now.
Did I miss him?
They've got Bollinger behind.
No, they don't. Not at 13, they don't.
They got Bollinger.
Oh, I'm sorry. There it is. I was wrong.
Bollinger behind Dickman and Rio.
Yeah.
Those are the two. And, of course, those two wrestled in the state championship bout last year at 106 pounds. And Bollinger was 3rd in that weight class. So it's 1, 2, 3 like it was last year on the podium at the state finals.
Now, he'll get tested because Sawyer May, Jalen Sawyer May from Kokomo will come through the Fort Wayne Semi-State, and he'll run in and see how that bracket draw is for next week.
For sure. Then at 120 pounds, I thought a great weight locally. We saw a huge win for Henry Farrote over Kate Jackson. Hunter Douglas looked great, and it's just so ironic to me that Douglas and Farrote 2 weeks ago were wrestling for 3rd and 4th in the NE8, and yesterday they were wrestling for 1st and 2nd in the regional.
Yeah.
This speaks a lot to the depth right now in the NE8, but Farrote loses 7-0. Wasn't necessarily in the match at the end, but I thought he was in the match in the 1st and 2nd period. And I think Henry's getting stronger week after week. We'll talk about the draws later on in the show, but I don't think Douglas necessarily has any better chance than Farrote does of advancing. I think the key was winning that semifinal match and winning, of course, the first-round match. But I think Henry Farrote's had a great freshman year, and it's going to be right there challenging for a spot at state.
And I pulled up, and Bollinger and May will not meet until the finals at 13, I mean.
At 126 pounds, Cody Rouse, man, how I don't know what else to say other than Cody Rouse.
He got dominated by
Daniels
the week before.
Sectional.
Yeah.
And then comes out and beats Neil Mosier, hands him the first loss of the year. Then comes out and pins Daniels in the finals. Looking at the brackets that we'll talk about later in the show, he could be in the finals in semi-state.
I talked to Pat during the rounds, and I mean, Pat's a pretty quiet guy, and he was quite pleased with the way he wrestled. That was before the finals, and I think that kind of surprised everybody in the finals.
At 132 pounds, that Delta sectional came through. They kicked Breisen down to 4th. Jackson beats Sam Mosier. Again, that's an awfully deep weight class for Breesen Shorgen to finish fourth. He suffers 2 losses. The other loss was to Mosier earlier in the year, so 3 of his 4 losses are to those 3 guys from the sectional. That was an awfully deep weight class, and then as you mentioned, 138 pounds was all Tony Wood. Mab Dubois did a nice job against Frauiger, I thought, in the 3rd place match.
Frauger's good. Frauger's tough. He's there for a reason.
And then at 144 pounds, Bullenbacher that's the best that I've seen him wrestle. And he's been wrestling great all year, don't get me wrong. But that's the best that I've seen him wrestle, perhaps in his whole career. And Hops is no slouch. And, of course, Ronimus went to state last year. But when we talk about the brackets here for semi-state, I think you're going to see the South Adams Starfires represented again at the state finals. And it's been a while, Rex. I don't know if you fully contemplate how long that's been.
Only because you told me before the show.
Not since AJ Dahl hit that ridiculous headlock on what's-his-face, Torres from Chesterton, on the mat, on the edge of the mat.
He was 6 inches away from glory.
2020, I think it was. So it's been 3 seasons without South Adams at the state finals. Hopefully we see a Starfire on the mat in Evansville. At 150 pounds, a wide open, easily the most wide open weight class in the Jay County Regional. It ends up being won by senior Jaden Jett from Cowan. He takes out Blake Luganbill, a couple of throw-bys in a 4-0 match. Really wasn't all that exciting. Luganbill was there. I think if they wrestle again with a week's worth of practice and analysis and videotape, Luganbill could be right there, but Jett was the better wrestler on Saturday.
Loogie takes out the guy from Yorktown handily, and you know why they bumped Hops up at 50 than the match they did, because Yorktown's trying to steal one. He dominated that first match. He wrestled really good against Robinson to get to the finals, and then, like I said, Jett was just a little bit slicker in that first minute, and then set the tone, and then Jett just kind of wrote him out. But I thought Loogie wrestled really well.
And give some props to the guys that were wrestling for 3rd and 4th. Byerly with 14 losses, finishes 3rd at the regional, and is going to be competitive at the semi-state. And a shout-out to Coach Myers and the Jay County staff, right? They took Jacob Robinson, and they bumped him up from 144, where he was at conference, bumped him up to 150, and here he is advancing to the semi-state.
Yeah. I thought Robinson wrestled really well in sectional last week.
Gavin Davis almost gave us a heart attack in the very first round, because you've just been crossing your fingers for so many weeks that it isn't an injury that determines when Gavin bows out of this tournament. And we thought after a couple of injury times, but I think he is smart enough and in tune enough with his own body that he knows if he's in pain, he's dropping it. He'll give up points. He'll wait until he can call injury time, and he's not going to push it.
And I was standing in line with Zach Zimbo, who had that match, and he said after he took his 2 injury times, they were on the edge of the mat, and he yelped, and they stood up, went out of bounds, and Zimbo looked at him and said, "You don't have any injury time. Don't do that. Don't yell out." He said, "If I stop it," he said, "it's over." And Davis says, "I know." And then I talked to Davis in between rounds and said, "You knew it was going to hurt. Once in a while it's going to get hurt, and you're just going to wrestle through it." And he said, "Yeah, I know, I'm good." And then he come out, he wrestled like a tiger in them next 2 matches.
Well, after wrestling, 23 seconds, 27 seconds?
23.
The previous week, it was hard to know what you're going to get out of Davis. But I also think that if you look at Davis and Meyer, and you're trying to make your picks at 157 pounds on Indiana mat for Saturday's semi-state, take a look at what Riesen Davenport and Evan Duncan did this year. They finished 3rd and 4th, and Davis and Meyer were...
Oh, they just smoked both those guys.
Yeah, so I do think that Davis and Meyer have awfully good shots of advancing, and that could be 2 more Adams County wrestlers who are involved.
We'll talk about it when we get to that bracket, but in the semis it will be Gavin Davis and his nemesis Mitchell Betts from Western.
For sure. Well, let's take a commercial break here, and when we come back, we're going to highlight the rest of the matches, 165 through heavyweight, and play you a couple of highlight audio, and then we'll also talk to Mike Reiser. We'll be right back after this.
Are you ready for spring? Come see what we have growing in the greenhouses. Hi, it's Jessie at Heller Nursery, and we are open all winter long. Heller Nursery always has a wide selection of houseplants in stock and pottery for inside and outside the house. We are preparing for spring every day now. And with new shipments of decor, pottery, plants, and seeds, there's always something new to see. Check out hellernursery.com to see our wide selection of spring offerings of trees, shrubs, fruits, and perennials. Heller Nursery, open 7 days a week.
Bowers Paint Studio on West Monroe Street in Decatur is hands down the best auto body repair shop in the Midwest. That's why your friends and neighbors give Bowers Paint Studio a 5-star rating on Facebook. Your family ride get dinged in an accident? Take it to Bowers for a free estimate. Need a custom paint job for your collectible car or motorcycle? Bowers Paint Studio is the place to go. Nate works with all the insurance companies and can help you get a loaner. That's Bowers Paint Studio on West Monroe Street in Decatur.
The IHSAA State Wrestling Finals are coming to the Ford Center on February 16th and 17th. Come share in the excitement as the state's best wrestlers go toe-to-toe for the crown of state champion. Tickets go on sale through Ticketmaster February 14th at 10 a.m. Central Time. You won't want to miss the Fan Festival on Main Street, February 17th, hosted by Explore Evansville. There will be live entertainment, games, food trucks, complimentary shuttles to Franklin Street and Haney's Corner, and so much more. Stay up to date on everything Evansville has to offer during your stay by visiting exploreevansville.com. Evansville, Indiana, where champions are crowned.
Back once again to the Hager Hershey-Zelt High School Wrestling Weekly, hosted by Double Eagle Clubhouse Grill. And on Saturday, our main sponsor, Mr. Hershey, was there in full force wearing his Hager Hershey-Zelt Gen 1 shirt, looking fine in it. Just want to give my props out to wearing the shirts that he has been so gracious.
I saw a couple of them at the J County Gym. We'll see if we can see them at the
Gen 1 or Gen 2?
At the Coliseum.
Coach A.J. Bradley had Gen 2 on.
Yes, I did see that one as well. And, of course, we always accept shirts and swag, even on Semi-State Saturday. I don't know if we'll get any purple shirts this year because the Bearcats didn't make it. A.J. stiffed me. He gave my wife a Muncie Central girls shirt, and I didn't get nothing.
We
invited A.J. to be part of our A.J. Bradley to be part of our broadcast team on Saturday, and he told us no.
No,
he's going to take the Saturday off, spend it with his boys.
All right, be that way.
I'll take it. That's the confidence he has in his nephew.
Speaking of spending with the boys, I drove over to Ohio to say happy birthday to my son. Happy birthday on Tuesday to my oldest son, Zach. Happy birthday, Zach. There you go.
Glad that you made it back in time. Hey, at 165 pounds, we had a pretty cool moment as Duke Myers became a 4-time regional champ for the Belmont Braves, something that's not been done very often.
Along with Tony Wood.
In Adams.
I saw they have had a post. Tony Wood is the first ever 4-time J County 4-time regional champ. Nat posted that.
Man, I'm trying to remember who beat Mason in a regional.
Didn't he wrestle Duke one year? No, not Duke. He wrestled
somebody. Somebody out there is listening right now that knows who beat Mason Winter in a regional, if that's true. But
they
anyways,
posted it.
We wanted to play you the highlights from Duke's pretty cool accomplishment, and we'll do that right now. Myers and Stebbins. Just haven't seen much yet, Rex. Can Duke ride here? Is this going to their feet?
I think this is going to take him right to your feet. Warning stalling.
Stalling
cool.
called on Stebbins as he blocks a shot by Myers with 5 seconds left.
That was good because Stebbins has not made an attempt on the legs. Duke's shot 4 or 5 times. That makes a difference here. Since Stebbins has got the stalling warning, just cut him. Rest him on your feet and push him. Get to 1.
Stebbins immediately gets the escape. Not sure there was ever really an effort there for Duke to.
He dropped back, tried to.
Nice snap down by Myers. He loses the head of Stebbins for a moment. But I would have liked to have seen him hold on to that.
Duke tried to drop down and hit him in a Turk.
Underhook by Stebbins. Myers gets going out of bounds. They call him for stalling.
That was 2 steps, no shots.
Tim shakes his head, says no way.
That was an Evener call. That was the Revlon call.
Nick Kuhn says 0 shots. 0 shots. They're going to have to work this out, the 2 of them. And it may come down.
Duke had the first point.
To the ultimate tiebreaker. That's why you don't defer in the postseason. 40 seconds left. Stebbins pushing Myers with his heels out of bounds. Stebbins still hasn't shot. Hasn't got in on the legs of Myers.
Ooh.
There he reached under. 25 seconds left. Here we come. Oh, I thought he could have grabbed an ankle there. 12 seconds left. Center of the mat. Shot in by Myers. Single leg. 2 with 3 seconds left. Duke Myers is a 4-time regional champ. Woo!
Had one left in the chamber, Dane.
Wow. Rexy hit it when it count.
Yeah, I had a little. I am going with Duke late last night, and I told him that I think he scared Stebbins. He hit that blast double and blew right through him, and Stebbins kind of threw him off top. Stebbins wanted nothing to do with him the rest of the match. Just totally had nothing to do with him. And Duke said, "Yeah, I think I scared him a little bit." So
the cool thing is, if you look at the brackets, you look at the rankings, the top 3 guys from this Jay County Regional are the top 3 guys in our semi-state. You very well could see it again. And I think a Myers-Stebbins rematch in the semi-state championship bout would be a lot of fun.
yeah, Stebbins got a pretty good draw too.
Yeah, I think absolutely those two would be favored to make it back to the finals. And Duke will have another chance to make it a semi-state title. Now, on Saturday during the broadcast afterwards, we talked about how many 4-time regional champs there were in Belmont history, and we'll recap those for you. Chris Malin won 4 regionals from 76 to 79, and the late Paul Gunsett won in 85, 86, 87, and 88. Tim won in 92, 93, 94, and 95, and Ike Rubel won in 2019, 2020, 21, and 22, and now Duke 4 times a regional champ.
You quizzed me, and I hit the first one right off the top of my head. I knew one of them.
That's because you were present.
I was
right?
there.
So Duke won his first semi-state title last year as a junior, and he'll try to become a 2-time champ. There have only been 5 3-time champs in Belmont history. Marcus Ocampo was 1, Chris Malin was 1, Paul Gunsett, Ike Rubel, and Randy Baker also won 3 semi-state titles. So Duke trying to get up there in elite company in Belmont history.
And people have to remember, Duke's freshman year, his first match was sectional first round.
Yeah.
He didn't wrestle any matches all season long, and the sectional was his first match he wrestled.
Do you remember when he wrestled? He wrestled in the Belmont. I'm pretty sure he wrestled in the Belmont JV invite. Like,
did he just to get
the Wednesday before
a tuner?
And it was like, oh my gosh.
It
is hard to believe that he missed that whole freshman year.
Yeah.
Didn't wrestle at conference. Didn't wrestle at the Al Smith.
It was the teaser. We kept thinking he's going to be in. They kept saying, yeah, he's ready. He's going to be back, and just didn't see him.
Certainly, we're going to cherish every moment that Duke has left in his high school wrestling career. And most of us, at least the people who are listening right now, are looking forward to what comes in his college career when we talk about Big Ten wrestling. We talk about Ike Rubel and some of those other guys. We love all of that stuff. And there was a lot of good action this weekend. How about Sergio Lemley? I don't know if you followed that.
I saw that.
Real Woods this weekend. He's ranked number 2 in the nation when it comes to that. So as we finish up our rundown of the Jay County Regional here, Braxton Russell, no doubt your winner at 175 pounds. But Eli Baining and Xavier Palacios wrestled really, really well on Saturday. They're both going to have chances to advance on Saturday. There we go.
I can't take you anywhere, Tony.
That's an Al Smith champ right there. At 190 pounds, Trevor Curry was your winner for the 3rd straight week over Bryce Wank. We'll talk a lot about the 190 bracket here later on. We don't want to do a spoiler alert. At 215, Keegan Martin won again. He beats Keegan Bloom in the Battle of the Keegans. A fall, on their feet, Keegan Martin's better. Keegan Bloom does his best to hang with him, but man, once Keegan Martin seems to get on top, he just seems to be a little bit better on top and has been turning Bloom, and he gets the fall in the second period.
I was talking to Coach Myers, his brother Tim, Jeff, who's out here, and Keegan is just wrestling so well. He's just wrestling so well. I mean, we plan on him going a long way. Knock wood.
Is there, knock on wood, and I don't want to jinx him, but is there going to be a more satisfying win on Saturday than when Keegan Martin beats Jelante Hinton?
Yeah.
In the semifinals. Those two are on the same side of the bracket. We'll talk about that more later on. What can Zach Worm do? I don't know if there's something that he can do. He keeps plugging away, and I give him credit for it on the rolls, on the Petersons, on everything that he's got. Juan Cruz is just better.
His best chance is if Juan Cruz misses the bus. That's about the best chance he has, because that guy is just so big. But I tell you what, the rest of the heavyweights coming through our Fort Wayne SemiState are studs. There's 6 heavyweights that are really, really good.
Yeah, you got Hartle Road, and you got Kuhlman, and you got a couple of those other guys. It's impressive. So it was a great day. And Rex, I'm going to let you hook up with our Indiana Mat guru, Mike Reiser, as he's going to tell us a little bit more about what we've got going on. I do want to, while you're dialing them up, I do want to give a shout out to the guys in the stripes on Saturday. I was talking to Dean Dubois earlier before the show. I thought the officiating was really, really good on Saturday, and I don't want to beat a dead horse and talk about the previous Saturday. That's over and done with. But the level of officiating was much, much higher. I thought Josh Howard did a great job of overseeing things, and you expect the officiating to get better, and I think it will. And if you look at what we're going to see on SemiState, I'm sure we'll see top notch, because all of those guys that are at that level, they all know what the ticket round is.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to be sloughing off. No one's going to be losing their attention span. Everybody's going to be on the top of their game, and they're going to try to get it as right as they can.
From the level we went from sectional to regional, made you relax. You knew that there was not going to be a call that was made that you really questioned. Now, the number 4 guy, a newer guy, I thought he did pretty well. He did way better than the guys the week before, but for the most part, I thought that crew was really stout. Now, Chris Conless has been around forever. Zimbo's been around. Forget who the other one was, but they're very solid guys. So let's dial Mikey up here and see what he's got to say here. Good evening, Mike Reiser, Rex Brewer and Dane Fuelling. We are on the air. We're not in a commercial break like we usually are. So you are live on the air, calling up from the 219. How you doing tonight, brother?
Man, I'm great. I'm glad I didn't answer the phone all extra rowdy. Doing great. How are you guys?
Well, we are glad that you did answer, because one of our guests that's coming up later on the show, Andy King, he snubbed us a couple of weeks ago, and that's a bad look.
Yeah, I remember that when you guys called with the voicemail. I said, man, this is live radio. I love it.
Well, hey, what are your big takeaways from regional yesterday, statewide?
Man, just some of the one were really close. I was out at Hobart, Lake Central. Maryville was down to the last round. Lake Central ended up pulling away. I think it came down to one of the matches. Lake Central won late, but it was a good one. It looked like across the state there were some good ones. Just tight races coming down to last matches. It sounded like New Haven. That one was pretty tight. Crown Point dominated. I was asking Joe, have you ever seen a team score 300 points in a regional, in the 8-man regional?
That's insane.
Yeah, I mean they put 14 in the finals, but I mean it's not like it's a bad regional. I mean they lost Lake Central, but still pretty dominant.
How many champs did Crown Point have?
11 champs.
So they've only lost 4 matches so far in 2 weekends?
Yeah. They got some tough draws though. But you see some of the results statewide, and you're just like, man, that could be some really, really tough tick-around matches, and you kind of look at some storylines, and then, Joe released some brackets when I was at practice, and my phone was going crazy because, like always, the 2 most random rounds in the state tournament, tick-around and state quarterfinals, you look at that, and you're just gut-punching some of those.
Now, Mike, speaking of Joe, was there any doubt in your mind that Joe was going to have those brackets this weekend?
I was a little shocked he didn't have them last night. But he, just kind of going back and forth and, talking with those guys. We heard this morning they were going to be released at noon, and then, coaches want to get that draw because they want to get, start planning, for the opponent, I think it's tough.
So, Mike, what can we expect here this week from Guerrilla Radio and Indiana Mat?
And I think Joe wants to do 3 or 4 shows, so we're going to have a pretty jam-packed week. With all the stuff, SemiState, because you want to get some results in, you want to do SemiState draws. You want to give everyone the proper amount, of time. I'm hoping we can get some of the other, rankers on there. I know Dustin's going to be on, and he's always really good. And shout out to Dustin. His son won middle school state today. Little B. But I don't know if Caleb's going to get on, but he's doing a great job. It looked like you guys had some pretty interesting results out there by you guys.
Yeah, we had a great regional. It was a lot of fun, very competitive, and it's one of those things where you love to see the upsets, but you also love to see the guys that you know are going to be at the top really succeed and wrestle well and sort of scrap throughout the day, and that's exactly what we had.
Yeah, I was talking to some people at Hobart, and hadn't been out to a lot of Hobart this year, and just some people that aren't as familiar with the state tournament. So like the first round regional, so if they lose here, they're done. I'm like, yeah, they're out. They're like, that's terrible. I was like, yeah, it's even worse. Is next week if you lose in the first 2 rounds, you're out. They're like, no. And like, well, how do they do it? Like, is it gonna be seeded? I'm like, no. Like you get champs and then 2s and 3s. But it was a rowdy weekend, man. Crown Point had some rowdiness there. I know I sent in our private text some rowdy fans, and Hobart had some rowdy fans. And
well, Mike, if the police aren't involved, is it really a regional in the region?
Man, I don't think so. I think we're getting to that point. I always thought they got the police here. That's just like an optics thing, and then you're stopping parents from going on the mat trying to fight coaches. I don't always think that's a good thing.
Classic. I love it. Well, Mike, we're looking forward to what we hear on Indiana Mat and on Guerrilla Radio. Rex and I would be glad to join you guys for the Fort Wayne show, and we're really looking forward to Thursday night here in another 10 days as we all meet up in Evansville.
I know. I'm excited for that. Rex said he's going to get me a high school wrestling weekly t-shirt. I'm looking forward to that.
It's in the bag already, brother. I got it with me. I got another batch I'm picking up. But I support you guys' show the last couple weeks. I get the notification, hey, Guerrilla Radio's on, and I spend as much time as I can on there. But I got a regular day job, and after about 11 o'clock, 11:30, I have to cut her off and get off the old chat show. But you guys had a good show this last week.
I was telling Rex, thank you, I appreciate that, I really did. I was telling Rex, sometimes we have a game plan and Joe has something sketched out, and then sometimes it's just, we're going to roll with it, it's going to go in 100 different directions. It's such a cool thing. We have such a great group of people that are interactive in there, and, it's really cool. I'm sure you guys get a good crowd. Every time you guys got a good crowd there, so, you get people coming in there, and it just helps the show go.
Awesome, Mike. Well, we thank you for coming on the show tonight, and we look forward to talking to you throughout the week. And maybe we'll talk to you next Monday night as we've got first critiques of Joe's outfit on the IHSAA TV show, but then also talking about those draws.
I know. I told him to get a spray tan. He was looking a little pale last time.
See you, Mike.
All right, guys. Have a good one. Thank you, guys.
With that, let's send it back to studio. Steve Rouse running the board for us, back with a round of messages right after this on WZBD.
Winter might be here, but that doesn't mean that we can't think about golf. Give Cross Creek Golf Club a call at 724-4316 or visit their website, crosscreekdecatur.com, for all of your off-season golf needs. Memberships and gift cards make great presents for the golfers in your life. Book an outing for this year, but hurry as they fill up fast. March is just right around the corner. Cross Creek, a proud supporter of Belmont Athletics and Belmont Wrestling.
The staff at Haggard, Hershey, and Zelt Funeral Home is honored to serve the community we love and live in. Locally owned and operated by Ryan Hershey and Eric Zelt, we understand that each family we serve and each life lived tells a unique story. Our goal is to offer comfort, care, and dignity to all who entrust their loved ones to our care. We are proud to call Adams County our home and look forward to serving you for generations to come.
Does your smile need work? Maybe it's time for a cleaning and exam. Visit Laura Kugelhahn, DDS, and her knowledgeable, caring staff at Complete Smiles on North Main Street in Bluffton. Dr. Kugelhahn would love to help you maintain your dental health or transform your smile. Whatever your needs might be, Complete Smiles is there to help you. Dr. Kugelhahn is currently accepting new patients. Call 824-3100 to schedule an appointment.
back once again to the Hager Hershey Zelt High School Wrestling Weekly, hosted by Double Eagle Clubhouse Grill. This week, Dane and I are on the west side, closest to Peterson, Preble, the Twin Cities, opposed to downtown Decatur.
Great food, as always, here at the Double Eagle. I'm on, I think, week 4 or 5 in a row of the pulled pork tacos. I can't get enough of it.
Well,
and I never have anything for lunch on Mondays because I eat it all.
My go-to tonight went with a Cuban. I cut about an inch slice off of it, ate that tonight. The rest of that's lunch tomorrow. I made sure to put it away, get it out of here. Got the Cuban for lunch tomorrow.
Well, joining us in this segment is the head coach of the New Haven Bulldogs. That's a state championship winning coach, Mr. Jimmy Linn, and also a regional champion. Congrats, Coach.
Thanks a lot. I appreciate it, Dane.
Well, you guys won over Garrett by a couple of points, a handful of points. Had a great day, and what an accomplishment for you guys as a program.
Yeah, it's a big deal for us. It's been since 2008. I was an assistant with Coach Barry Humble back in those days, so it's been a long time.
Well, we know Coach Humble's always listening on Sunday nights down in Florida, so I'm sure he's proud of you guys for the accomplishment that you had. How many did you get out to SemiState?
We got 9 out, so tell you the truth, I thought we could possibly get a couple more, but can't be greedy, so 9 is great. It's the most we've ever had, so it's a great accomplishment for us.
And I know you had 2 champs down at the lower weights with Juliana and with Carrington Cooper at 106 and 113. And it's so nice in an individual tournament to have hammers at 6 and 13 because you always have that lead and you kind of use that in each round. Delta did it at Jay County on Saturday, but those 2 kids had great days for you.
Yeah, they did. So going into that last round, we were down by 12 points, and we kind of erased that pretty quickly when Juliana got a pin. And then we got a head-to-head win against Garrett at 13. It was kind of one that not a lot of people expected us to win except for us. That was like an 8-point swing, basically. So it was really good to get a good start there.
Well, certainly at 113 pounds, I think a lot of people were counting on Swarthwood to be the champion there after beating Juliana earlier in the year. But Carrington comes back and scores the win. I'm looking at track wrestling right now, 9-6. How did that match go?
We had a pretty good plan against him. Like we seen him earlier, so we knew kind of what he was all about, and we formulated a good plan. And Carrington stuck to it and was able to get on his offense. He's really good on his feet, so that was our plan, just to get some takedowns early, and he was able to continue doing that. And he's kind of struggled a little bit during the course of the year on bottom, but we've really been working on that lately, and he's been able to get some good escapes, especially during that match.
And then you had another pair of champs with Doster and Elkins at 144 and 150 pounds. What kind of days did those 2 have?
Great days. Easton Doster sometimes gets frustrated when he doesn't, just mop the mat with people. But as you guys well know, sometimes people, their whole goal is to stay away, not get pinned, not give up bonus points, and that's what he runs into sometimes. But he was dominant. He won 9-3. It was all takedowns and let ups. Aiden Elkins had a great day. He had 3 pins. He wrestled the Homestead kid in the finals that he kind of struggled with in the sectional finals, but was able to get a first period pin, take down, put the legs in, and turned him. So it was a good day for both those guys and big points for us.
Looking at your team, and I saw you wrestle a couple of times throughout the year, but when I look at names like Amstutz and LaPera and Pori, those aren't guys that I necessarily would have told you 3 weeks ago were going to be semi-state qualifiers. That's a good accomplishment for those 3 guys.
Absolutely. I think, Amstutz has grown a lot since he was a freshman. He's kind of put his name. He's had some good wins. He's wrestled some tough kids really close. LaPera had a huge win where he got a reversal in the last couple seconds to get out of that first round regional. And then Matt Pori sealed the deal for us with his pin in that last round for 3rd place. And he's a senior, and he's had a great year. He's got, I think he's pushed 35 wins, so he's had a great year.
So, Coach, looking forward now to this Saturday. You've had a chance to look at the brackets. What would you say are your goals for Saturday at SemiState?
I look at our brackets, and we've wrestled some of those guys that we're going to have to we're going to have to beat in order to get to state. I don't want to sound overconfident, but I feel good about them. I feel good that our coaching staff's going to be able to put a plan together for our guys to be successful. I don't want to throw a number out there how many we can get through, but I feel confident in quite a few of our guys getting to the next level.
I know that looking ahead to the bracket, Elkin's got the best draw coming out of that. The other two NE8 studs he battled with between Toish and Biddle on the top half of that bracket. So at 50, he's got a real good bracket.
Yeah, he does. He did himself a real good service when he obviously won the regional. So, but still, there was those couple bad draws in there we were kind of concerned about. We kind of stayed away from the ones that I was, not to say that he's going to plow through his quad, but some of the guys we were, a little concerned about are elsewhere in that bracket.
Last question for you, Coach. Here we've seen Juliana wrestle a dozen matches already this year. Tell us a little bit about how she looks right now, what her strengths are right now, and what she's still working on.
She looks great. She's wrestled a lot of matches this year and had some great success, obviously. What I'm most impressed about her is as good as she is, she's still evolving. I like to think we mix things up in practices a little bit. She still has and always will have the things that she's really good at, but we're trying to work on some areas of weakness for her and all of our wrestlers, really, to where they can improve, and it seems to be working. And what I like about her is, you expect one thing from her, and then you see something else on the mat. So teams can't just prepare for what they think she's going to do. She's got a whole arsenal of weapons in her bag, and she's going to be able to use them all going forward.
Now, has she seen the young men from Prairie Heights or Jay County this year?
No. So when we wrestled Prairie Heights, her sister was 106, and she beat him. And then, so no, we haven't seen the other wrestlers. So we're just gonna, try to get as much information. You guys know how it is. We're gonna find film. We're gonna talk to coaches. We're gonna get as much info as we can. And in this day and age, it's pretty easy to find stuff. So.
If there's one saving grace, Jensen Boyd, the number one ranked Fort Wayne and overall state guy, is on the top half of the bracket, and we've seen him a couple of times this season, and he is the real deal.
Yeah, I saw him wrestle IPO. We were there and watched some film on him. Yeah, we were hoping to be on the opposite side of the bracket. I'm confident that Juliana can give it a go, and she's an amazing wrestler, and I'm not going to count her out against anybody. But I'm not going to lie and say that I don't like the fact that he's on the other side.
Well, Coach, we thank you for coming on the show, as you've done so many times before. We have congratulated you multiple times throughout the year, of course, on your state title on the girls' side of things, but a regional title on the boys' side of things. Really cool accomplishment for New Haven Wrestling.
Yeah, thanks a lot. I really appreciate your guys' support, and it's exciting times to be a Bulldog.
We'll see you on Saturday, Coach.
Yep, you guys have a good one. Bye.
That's been Coach Jimmy Linn of the Fighting Bulldogs of New Haven. And with that, let's send it back to the studio for a round of messages with Steve Rouse running the board for us. Back with more High School Wrestling Weekly on WZBD.
When you're doing new construction or remodeling and you need drywall, the name to call is Paul Baker Drywall. Paul Baker Drywall does championship caliber work and gives you free estimates. Paul uses all the latest styles for your approval, and his work is always guaranteed. Give Paul a call today at 701-4388. That's 701-4388. When it's time for drywall, use the best, Paul Baker Drywall. Brad Weber proudly supports the WZBD Wrestling Coaches Show. He also supports youth football in Adams County as a board member of the Decatur Football League and president of Belmont Cadet Football, giving our youth the chance to learn the great game of football. Some of the best football players in our area have also been fantastic wrestlers. That's why famous coaches like Joe Gibbs and John Madden always wanted wrestlers on their team. Find out more about youth football opportunities by giving Brad a call at 452-7045 or email bw@bradweberlaw.com.
Are you ready for spring? Come see what we have growing in the greenhouses. Hi, it's Jessie at Heller Nursery, and we are open all winter long. Heller Nursery always has a wide selection of houseplants in stock and pottery for inside and outside the house. We are preparing for spring every day now, and with new shipments of decor, pottery, plants, and seeds, there's always something new to see. Check out hellernursery.com to see our wide selection of spring offerings of trees, shrubs, fruits, and perennials. Heller Nursery, open 7 days a week.
Welcome back once again to the Hager Hershey Zelt High School Wrestling Weekly, hosted by the Double Eagle. Once again, we're live at the Double Eagle Clubhouse Grill. And as we make our way to second period A, we're joined on the phone by the coach of the regional champions, the Delta Eagles. And first of all, congratulations, Cody LeCount, for your success on Saturday. But the Belmont Braves were chasing you all day there, brother.
Yeah, it was a great day, and thank you for that. So.
Well, Cody, we don't mean to embarrass you, but your dad came by and talked to us before the Saturday events and said, "Hey, thanks for letting Cody be on the show all the time." Cody, you earned your spot on the show. We're not doing you a favor or anything.
Well, you don't have to tell everybody else that. You can just tell my dad a certain thing like that.
Okay, that's fine. Hey, you guys looked great on Saturday, and it was a well-deserved victory. As we mentioned multiple times on the broadcast on Saturday, first regional title for Delta High School since 1996. You come away with 3 regional champions, and now you have a week of practice to prepare and try to win a semi-state title on Saturday.
Yeah, so, I mean, this weekend was a good weekend for us. It's kind of one of those as a coach. We dropped a couple matches where we weren't maybe expecting to or knew we could because there was some tough competition. And you still come away as champs as a team and stuff, and you got to look at it and be positive and get ready for the next week. There's a big week coming up now that we kind of see these draws, and just get excited for the semi-state. Now we got to go try to break another record. The last time we won a semi-state record or semi-state title was in 1991. So.
Well, Coach, we always like to ask coaches around this time of year, what does your room look like now for the next week? How many guys are still involved, still practicing? You have less guys involved. How does your focus change in the next 5 days?
Yeah, our numbers are definitely fewer than what we started. We've got some guys that kind of transitioned to some other sports, but we also have a lot of guys still sticking around, helping out, being practice partners. That's what I think a team kind of makes a team like that, is having those guys that'll kind of stay in the room and stuff and help those other guys go accomplish the goals that they have for the rest of this tournament series.
You know, Dane and I have actually seen that room. We walked through the room. There's plenty of space. I don't think you're ever going to run out of room in that wrestling room. But there's plenty of room.
Plenty of room.
You know, he asked you how your wrestling room looks. It's gorgeous, Dane. You know it looks gorgeous. And I spent some time talking to a couple of your assistant coaches, and one of my all-time favorite guys, and he's a big hero of yours, in David Locke, and stood down there and talked with he and Gary Schliesman and Jacob Gray. And I tell you what, you got a really good staff there, and that just shows why that you guys have had the success that you've had, that you kind of brought that Delta team back, you know, to the forefront from the ashes, so to speak.
Most definitely. Yeah, I can only do so much as a head coach, right? You've got to rely on your assistant coaches and just other parents in the community and everything as well, right? I've got a great support behind me. My AD is amazing. He's got a wrestling background as well, so just everything like that kind of helps me be the best head coach I can be.
He was a busy man on Saturday between swim sectional and wrestling regional, and Delta had a heck of a day at Jay County.
Yes, I did. I saw a picture of him. He even got in the pool with the team for the team picture for the team winning the sectionals. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Very, very cool. Well, Coach, we congratulate you, and we look forward to seeing what your guys can do representing the Jay County Regional on Saturday at the Coliseum. It's going to be a fun day, a very competitive day, and of course, there's so much excitement and anticipation for everybody competing on Saturday because they know that if they qualify, the state finals are just a little bit different this year, and I think a lot of people are excited about it.
Yeah, most definitely. I think it will be. The semi-state tournament's always one of my favorite times of the year because that's what you kind of train for, is to get to the state tournament. And once you get to the state tournament, then it's just go have some fun. So there's a lot of high stakes, and like you even said, it's going to be a lot different this year wrestling in Evansville. So I think everybody's really looking forward to that.
So, you know, it used to be that some of the other regionals were kind of the ones you looked at, but with the power that come out of that Jay County Regional, I think the other regionals are just scared to death of drawing anybody coming out of the Jay County Regional.
Yeah, most definitely. And then when you throw in some crazy matches like Mosier getting beat, obviously now he's a 3 seed coming out, and you're like, man, I got to draw a Mosier as a 2 somewhere else or something like that, right?
One loss.
That's the crazy thing about I think our regional just being as tough as it is, and just wrestling in general. So.
Well, Coach, we thank you for another appearance on our show, and we're looking forward to seeing you on Saturday at the Coliseum.
Hey, thank you, and let's go Eagles.
Thanks, Coach.
Yep, thanks.
I can't take Tony Roman anywhere.
Hey, when you have an Al Smith title,
you're allowed
to say what you want on the show. So once again, Delta probably the favorite on Saturday just because of the depth that they have, but I really do think that there's a chance for 5 or 6 teams to have a chance to win the title. I was going to pull up here the team rankings.
But like he mentioned, he dropped a couple of matches he didn't think he was going to drop. But those guys are spoilers. Coming out of the Jay County Regional as a third or a fourth, those guys like Neil Mosier come out with 1 loss, and he's going to draw a guy that's like a second place in another regional, and he's going to be favored in that match. I don't care who he wrestles.
And it's such a different format for people who aren't diehard wrestling fans that maybe don't understand how the team scoring works. You look at the power pool from the Indiana MAT rankings, and Delta's got double the points that Belmont does, but the only people who score points are the people who actually win next Saturday, and so some of those guys have already been eliminated, and they're going to get eliminated by someone else from a lower-ranked team in the first or second round, even though they were ranked in the top 3 or 4, right? So it's going to be a lot closer than that. The top 3 teams in the power pool heading into the state tournament were Delta and Belmont and Cowan, all 3 from our Jay County Regional. And then Western was number 4. Western didn't even win their regional. We're going to be talking to Coach King from Oak Hill. Oak Hill's not even in the top 10, and they dominated on Saturday.
Did you see the gap between 1 and 2 between Delta and Belmont, though? Yeah. 90 points.
It's big. And then Garrett and New Haven were 5th and 6th, separated by half a point. We just talked to Coach Linn as the New Haven Bulldogs won by 5.5 points. But, I mean, talk about Jay County. Bryce Wink could qualify for state. Cody Rouse could make the finals. Griffin Byram's going to be right there with Juliana. I think you've got several guys who we've learned in the last 3 or 4 years that it only takes 4 guys to win a semi-state title. And if you've got 3 guys who are favored or 2 guys who are favored and you pull off that one upset, you've got a chance to win a title. And there's probably 7 or 8 teams who are honestly in the mix there.
Yeah, but it'll be an interesting day, a fun day. We always enjoy that semi-state as we know those guys coming in, and we watched Rochester, win it 2 years in a row, and now they're not even there. They're a different semi-state.
Yeah, they finished runner-up to Penn on Saturday. Had a really good day, though, and are going to be very competitive. And they're such a deep team as far as top-end talent. From their best guy down to their 6th or 7th best guy is what I'm saying, not 1st through 14th. They're right up there in the top 20 of anybody else in the state. So with that, we're going to go to a break, and when we come back, we're going to have a conversation with the head coach of the Oak Hill Golden Screaming Eagles, Coach Andy Kane.
Back with more on the High School Wrestling Weekly right after this on WZBD.
Glazer and Ebbs Law Firm, located in downtown Fort Wayne, has been recognized by U.S. News and World Report as Best Lawyer, Best Law Firms, and rated as Best Law Firms for the years 2023 and 2024. This is the second year in a row that U.S. News and World Report and Best Law Firms has recognized Glazer and Ebbs. Glazer and Ebbs is located in downtown Fort Wayne, directly across from the courthouse, with free parking behind the building. With Glazer and Ebbs, there is a free consultation, home and hospital visit, car settled for free, and no fee if no recovery. Glazer and Ebbs, 260-424-0954. That's 260-424-0954. Glazer and Ebbs, best lawyers, best law firms, 2 years in a row.
No fee if no recovery. No fee if no recovery.
Glazer and Ebbs, with offices in downtown Decatur. Call 728-9997.
When faced with the difficult task of making arrangements for your loved one, many emotions and questions arise. What would they want me to do if they were here? Where is the money coming from? How much should I spend? Do they want burial or cremation? The staff at Haggard, Hershey, and Zelt Funeral Home can help you navigate these tough questions. Make your wishes known and allow us to make sure that your wishes are carried out. Call Ryan Hershey or Eric Zelt at 260-724-7167 to schedule an appointment today.
Welcome back once again to High School Wrestling Weekly, hosted by Double Eagle Clubhouse Grill. Rowdy group of fans out here tonight. They just keep yelling stuff at us, but we're on a different side of the arena tonight. We're at the high on the stage, where people are going to be throwing beer bottles at us, like
we got to get used to it.
Like we're like the band playing up here.
Is it kind of like Blues Brothers, where they got the chicken wire and it just kind of disintegrates when it gets thrown up at it? Hey, we're joined on the phone now by another regional winning coach, Coach Andrew King of Oak Hill. Oak Hill with 140 points to Western's 88. Congratulations, Coach! Quite an accomplishment.
Yes, thank you. We had a great day. Our kids came to wrestle.
So historically, how rare is it for Oak Hill to win a regional title?
It's actually the 5th time in our school history to win the title. We've come close a half dozen times, but this is our 5th in our school history.
You guys have such a great rivalry with Western from so many different angles, from being close in proximity to being, in the same regional and wrestling each other at team state and all of those types of things. It's got to be a lot of fun to be able to bang heads with those guys so many weeks in a row.
It is. I mean, they're in our sectional, not just our regional. So, we see them in a tournament throughout the year, and then obviously when we both get invited to team duels, state duels, we have seen each other in the same bracket sometimes. But, yeah, it's a good rivalry. Iron sharpens iron. We try to feed off of that.
You give a shout-out to those Shepherd boys because I really like to talk to those guys. I've known them for a long time, and I tell you what, them Shepherd boys will scrap. They come to wrestle every single week, don't they?
Yes, they do. You guys Shepherd on your side. It's going to be down to the wire. They know we're going to quit.
Well, Coach,
like I said earlier, if I was in a backyard fight or a street fight, I definitely want them on my side.
Coach, how many guys did you advance to Saturday?
We advanced 10, which also ties the 3rd time in our school history we've actually taken that many.
That is a great number. That's more than anybody at the Jay County Regional. How many champs did you have?
We only had 2 champs, which kind of identifies us as a team. I don't know if we have very many, if any, all-stars. We just kind of have a lot of blue-collar worker guys that come at it every day, and we're a lot of B+, A-minuses.
Who surprised you from your team? Who made it out that you thought maybe didn't have the greatest chance but wrestled really, really well in that opening round?
Oh, man. We had a lot of close ones. I can't say there's anyone that surprised us because we thought with the way we wrestled at sectionals, it set us up because we had 6 champs and a couple of runner-ups, and we didn't have any 4th-place finishers, so that helped us.
Tell us a little bit about your 165-pounder, Trevino. He's got Flores from Goshen. We've seen Cody Cox the last couple of weeks from Norwell, and Ethan Smith from Snyder's not too bad either. That's a pretty good quarter bracket, very competitive.
Yes, RJ's he's a junior this year, very athletic, quick, been a good leader for us, work ethic-wise. We've got a handful of kids that in the room, they just work hard, and RJ's one of them. So he's a scrapper, so he'll go all 6 minutes. So whoever's going to go against him, he's got to know they got to wrestle for 6 minutes.
Now, Coach, we asked Coach LeCount from Delta earlier in the show what his room looks like this week as some guys have been eliminated and you're really getting down to the nitty-gritty of who's still alive in the tournament. What does your room look like as far as practice and how many guys are still up there this week?
Our room gets really, really crowded. Started last week because that's when our junior high comes in also. So our room gets reduced down to half, and we got a lot of noise on the other end. It's helped us focus, I believe. Some people think it's a distraction, but I think it really helps us to concentrate on what we're doing. And we make sure everybody's got a drilling partner. That's the key to any successful wrestler. He's got a great drilling partner.
When you bring that junior high team in, let that junior high team see the success that you're having at this level in the regional, getting ready for SemiState. I mean, I think that just makes that junior high team a little bit prouder and a little bit more supportive of you, don't they?
It does. It does cause great chaos in the wrestling room, but when they look over there and they see the varsity guys really working hard, drilling hard, running sprints, and then when their coach says, "Okay, we got to do some workout," they just say, "Okay," that's because they want to do as the high school kids are.
So, Andy, we've been down to the baseball regional sectional the last couple times at Oak Hill. Did they spend all the money outside, or did they give you money on the inside for your wrestling room as well?
No, it's a great athletic program at Oak Hill. They put money into all the facilities, and we do have some of the greatest facilities in the state: football, softball, baseball. And our basketball court is nice. We just have a lot of facility all the way around.
Coach, before we move on to our next segment, tell us a little bit about your coaching staff and who your assistants are this year.
Well, Chris Tarleton's been with me for quite a while. He's one of my assistant coaches. He wrestled in Marion. Adam Perkins, he also runs the junior high as well as high school. He actually wrestled for me early in my career. He's just a great influence to the young men. He does junior high and high school because he truly cares about all the kids. I think all of our coaches have that passion. They care about the kids. That's the far most important. Those are the two main guys we've been with for the most length of time. And then you put me on the spot and I'm trying to think of all the guys' names.
That's okay. It takes a lot of guys from the junior high program to the volunteers, on a Tuesday afternoon, to the guys who are going with you to some of those weekend tournaments throughout the year. But when it comes down to wrestling on the ice at the Coliseum, it's you and your main assistant, and it's usually one match at a time, and there's a lot on the line on Saturday.
There is, and it gets to be chaos because sometimes we can easily have three wrestlers on at the same time, and that makes it hard to handle sometimes.
Well, Coach, we congratulate you on a regional title for your school and for your team, and we look forward to seeing you on Saturday and everybody else from the Peru Regional.
Well, we appreciate that, and good luck to everyone, and it'll be an exciting day. There'll be some disappointments, and there'll be some excitements too, so it's just the way the sport is. We wrestle the day after, and it'll have a different outcome also.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, thank you. Good luck, everyone.
So that was Coach Andrew King of the Oak Hill Golden Eagles.
And Sam now. Sam now.
And, I was looking it up. They won, I think, 4 regional titles in a span of 5 years, but they hadn't won the last couple of years because Western's been on top, so a great victory for them. And we're going to be joined now by Coach Sam Riesen. If he gives us the pickup.
Hello. Coach Sam Riesen, Rex Brewer and Dane Fuelling. We are on the air, not at a commercial as usual, so we are on the air with you. And we know you're always busy traveling from one point to another, but welcome to this show tonight. And how did you guys wrestle at your regional on Saturday?
Hey, we had a really nice day on Saturday. We came in thinking we had a shot to win, but knew we had to win a number of pretty close ones in the first round, and we put together a pretty good first round. But Prairie Heights was right on our tail, and so it was kind of all day. Prairie Heights was right behind us, and made for a pretty nerve-wracking day.
Well, Coach, you've had quite a season from winning a semi-state title on the girls' side of things to getting a spot in 3A, and I look at the IHSAA website and I see that East Noble's never won but one regional title in school history. That's a really cool accomplishment for you guys.
Yeah, it was, we were really excited as a group to have a shot to win it. The regionals, as I've been kind of telling people, sectionals, there are a lot of smiles on the kids' faces all day. And then the regionals, you have some of those matches that, needed to kind of set you up the next week. So, we kind of had to remind the kids how hard it is and how rare it is to win a regional at the end, because there were some kids that were maybe disappointed with where they finished looking at the next week, but they all, I think, recognize how important it was to get the second regional title in school history.
Now, Coach, that 2013 team was a pretty accomplished one for East Noble, if I remember right. They were involved in the 3A team state back in the very early years of the Coaches Association. Do you have anybody from that era on your coaching staff or involved with the team to sort of connect back to that accomplishment?
Connor Knapp's been up a couple times. Garrett Pepple, kind of summer workouts and stuff like that. But then Nate Weimer and Jake Weimer have both come back and helped. And Nate's our middle school coach. Our middle school won conference last year, and they're sitting at 8-0 right now. They had a really good dual meet with Belmont, our middle school, the other day. So, Nate and Jake Weimer have really put a lot into the program and have really helped us to get where we're at right now.
Coach, tell us a little bit about how you did today at Middle School State.
So we had 6 kids down there, and so my son Henry placed 5th, and he was the only guy that ended up placing, but everybody got some wins, and you got those kids that are kind of right there and maybe have been working since they were younger to try to get on the podium, and so it's cool to see those guys start to get closer and closer, each year, and see those guys work, and it's starting to pay off a little bit.
Coach, we'll ask you the same question we asked the last couple of coaches earlier in our segment. What does your room look like this week as you have kind of pared down who's still alive in the tournament? What do the numbers look like? What do the practice partners look like? How does your practice change?
Freshman, sophomore state has done a really good job of helping us keep kids who maybe, would have been looking for their spring sport after their season's done out there. So we've got a good number of kids, JV kids that have been up and helping. And, we've kind of kept kids out in the same basic kind of group of weight classes. So we have 8 moving on. So, we're hoping to be, around 20 kids in the room right now. And we do a lot of pairing them up into groups, and we're going to just push them hard this week. The way, the draws came out today, and, we're going to talk about just having belief in yourself no matter who's out there against you. So we're just going to work them hard and try to get them in the best position and conditioning as possible to, get some wins on Saturday.
Well, Coach, we thank you for another appearance on the show this season, a good friend of the show for sure, and we're looking forward to seeing how those East Noble boys do on Saturday.
Hey, yeah, hoping for the best. So thanks for having me again, guys. We always love it.
Thanks, Coach.
Yep, thank you.
Again, that was Coach Sam Riesen of the East Noble Knights.
No, the Fighting Reasons.
The Fighting Reasons of East Noble. Just the second regional title in school history, going back to Coach Hofer, I think, in 2013. So a really cool accomplishment for them to come away and win the Goshen Regional.
And this thing's just cruising right through, Dane. We're almost
It is.
in our
We're going to
last
run out of time to talk about the ticket round matches.
Whew.
Let's go to a break, and when we come back, we'll run through all the county wrestlers and who they have in the ticket round.
Nobody handles screen printing and apparel like Team Mantra Wear in Bluffton, providing high-quality and creative apparel for South Adams football, Belmont wrestling, and many others in our area. Team Mantra takes all the work coaches and volunteers used to do, taking orders and collecting money, and does that for them. Set up an online store and let the local experts at Team Mantra take care of the rest. From custom designs to a wide array of apparel and gear, Team Mantra is your home for all of your team apparel needs. Visit the brand new location for Team Mantra Wear on Main Street in Bluffton, or visit them online at teammantrawear.com today. At Jackson Associates Financial Services in Portland, we are committed to maintaining the highest standards of integrity and professionalism in our relationship with you, our client. We endeavor to know and understand your financial situation and provide you with only the highest quality information, services, and products to help you reach your goals. Give Troy a call for the latest rates on CDs and learn about the advantages in today's financial climate to invest in your hard-earned dollar. That's Jackson Associates in Portland. Wygand Construction in Fort Wayne is building landmarks that impact the lives and communities we serve. At Wygand, we believe that our most important responsibility as a building contractor and construction company is to stand by our commitments to our clients and to our community. That's why we believe in supporting high school athletics, where our local teenagers show their commitments to their teammates, their coaches, their schools, and their communities. Wygand Construction. Trust. Well built.
Welcome back to the Hager Hershey-Zelt High School Wrestling Weekly, hosted once again by the Double Eagle Clubhouse Grill. And tonight we had to flip switch on the end of the old room here as the Ellsworths were in here celebrating their son Nick's birthday. And congratulations, happy 21st birthday to Nick. But I kind of like it down here, Dane. That's not a bad idea. It's not
We
a bad
might have to move over here permanently. We'll see. Hey, we're going to do our best to run through in the next 15 minutes all of the first round and second round matches for Adams County wrestlers. At 106 pounds, Titus Loesch was a fourth place finisher from Jay County. He'll take on number 8 ranked in the semi-state Charlie Fleshman from Central Noble in the first round. And after that, he may have a date with Manny Mora, a freshman from Oak Hill. But definitely a pretty decent draw for Titus Loesch, as if you're looking at a bracket and you have 2 unranked wrestlers and the guy ranked number 8 out of 8, and you were once ranked in the top 8, I would say that's a pretty good draw for the freshman.
Not bad.
As we scroll down to the bottom of the bracket there, Miles Carr from Adams Central is currently ranked 10th in the semi-state. He will have Cole Carper, a freshman from Jimtown, with 5 losses in the opening round. Carper just made the state rankings at number 24. And the big name in that bracket is number 9 ranked undefeated sophomore Rex Moore from Manchester. With a name like that, I'm not really sure whether you want to give him too good of a chance.
The Moore boys have come through Manchester always with some solid records.
At 113 pounds, I am really interested to see how that quarter bracket. I mean, I know Aiden Bollinger, number 1 in the semi-state, 3rd place last year. That's a really good quarter bracket with Tyler Tunn. Cole Hinkle is down to 113 now. Braylon McIntyre. All 4 of those guys are ranked in the top 8. And I think all 3 of those guys thought, if I just don't draw Bollinger, I can make it out.
And they all end up
all
in
3 of them drew it. The match that we're all going to be talking about on Saturday when we get to 113 pounds, though, is going to be Jalen May, who's undefeated, the senior from Kokomo. And it's either going to be him or it's going to be Levi Johns, because they're going to wrestle each other in the ticket round if they both win in the first round. And only one of them is going to survive.
That's the first time I saw that draw. You know, we've seen Levi Johns wrestle so well, but Bollinger just tore him apart in the finals. I mean, Levi wrestled well, but Bollinger is just a step above.
And that's a big hit for Fort Wayne, because that's 2 of the top 7 wrestlers in the state at 113 pounds who are going to wrestle each other, and only one of them is going to be able to advance. On the bottom of the bracket, Cale Beer from Adams Central, the freshman, has Abram Swathwood. We just talked about him earlier in the show. A win for Beer would likely put him against Caleb Salazar from Wawasee.
Congratulations.
Beer's had a really good season. That's going to be a tough one for him to get out of, but he's a kid who later on in his career is certainly going to be knocking on the door of Indianapolis. At 120 pounds, Henry Farrout made the finals on Saturday. He's going to have Braden Raber from Mechaniqua. They're ranked number 4 and number 5, so definitely a 50-50 match there. If Farrout wins, then he would have a chance to wrestle Blake Byerly from East Noble. I think he majored Byerly earlier in the year, so a lot of focus will be on that first round match for Farrout. Raber from Mechaniqua was a 3rd place finisher at the Peru Regional. He's ranked number 24 in the state, so definitely not. It's not like you're drawing a returning state medalist, a top 10 wrestler, somebody with a lot of experience at the state finals. So definitely a winnable match there for Rote.
You know, staying away from Tishner is the goal there.
One note, though, Raber is a senior for Mechaniqua, and his career will be on the line when he steps on the line against Farrout on Saturday. Looking further down the bracket, as we get to 126 pounds, it's a great draw for Cody Rouse, and he earned it with his win. Braden Daniels will also have a really good chance. He is, according to the rankings, the favorite to make it to state. And I know we don't spend a whole lot of time talking about Union City because they're generally not that deep, but you can't help but root for the kid coming from our sectional and from a really small school with a really small team. It would be wonderful to see a Union City kid make it to the state finals. And the way he's wrestled the last 2 weeks, granted he didn't win this past week, he will definitely have it earned.
And the best record in that bracket is Love from Marion, ranked number 5 at 31-3. And I think his strength of schedule is as questionable as Union City's probably.
I would say at 132 pounds, it wasn't the easiest of draws for Brayson Shorgen as he draws number 2 in the semi-state, Carter Fielden, the sophomore from Garrett who went to state last year. That's in the first round. And after that, a win for Breisen would pit him potentially against Devin Atkins from Coach King's Oak Hill. He's a senior at 37-3. That's going to be awfully tough for Breisen. But when Breisen is on his feet against guys, or when those guys choose bottom in the second period because they think they can get up from Breisen easily, they're going to learn something different because he's one of the best in our semi-state, both on his feet and on top on the ride. We scroll down further on, and we get to 138 pounds. Mav Dubois will have Matthew Sen from Fairfield, 28-8, unranked in the first round. After that, it looks like he's potentially going to face Lincoln Carter, who is ranked number 12 in the state, number 2 in the semi-state, a sophomore from Eastside who is 42-2. That would be a great and a fitting ticket round match between those two. And as we look forward in the rest of the bracket, of course, Tony Wood on the opposite side. So really looking forward to that Dubois and Carter match, the potential in the ticket round on Saturday. Don't forget that on Saturday you can hear the opening round at 8:30 on YouTube throughout its entirety. After the coaches show, somewhere around 9, after we get through the 9 o'clock news, WZBD 92.7 FM will be picking up our YouTube feed. It'll be simultaneous. You'll be hearing the same thing. And then after we get through the, I said ticket round. I meant the opening round. I'm getting myself confused.
You're just going fast.
Regional was a ticket round. We're going to do the first round on YouTube. And it'll be simultaneous on 92.7 at some point during the morning. When we get to the ticket round then, we will be on air on 92.7 FM. You can stream us online. You were supposed to stream us online on Saturday, but the studio literally lost its internet connection during the broadcast on Saturday, which was rather unfortunate. But
which meant they lost us, too.
We hopefully will not have those problems on Saturday. Let's take a look at 144 before we go down to our final break. It's a tough draw for Sam Wolper as he draws number 1 in the semi-state, Easton Doster. Doster undefeated, ranked 5th in the state, a junior. That'll be the first round match. Colton Bullenbacher has the number 5 ranking in our semi-state. He'll take on Aiden Pesic from Fort Wayne Concordia. I believe those two have wrestled earlier in the year. And that will be the first round matchup. Cohen Lundy from Elkhart and David Connor from Kokomo are in the other quarter of the bracket. Honestly,
those guys weren't messing around.
We do a lot of jinxing and we do a lot of talking and a lot of predicting. There's no excuses for Bullenbacher. He wrestles like he has the last 3 weeks. He's going to the state finals, and the Starfires are back.
I mean, he made a statement on Saturday.
Scrolling down further, that gets us through 144 pounds. Don't forget that this year at the state finals, 106 through 144 is the second session on Friday, and they're going to begin with the 150-pounders, so that's a good place for us to go for our final commercial break. When we come back, we will have the ticket round matches from 150 to 285. You're listening to High School Wrestling Weekly here on WZBD. DDD Maintenance and Repair, owned and operated by Shane Reynolds, has your local professionals for heavy-duty truck and diesel engine repair. DDD Maintenance and Repair also offers full-service sand and glass blasting for your surface restoration projects. Whether it's getting your heavy-duty truck and diesel engine running like new or sandblasting your project to look like new, we have a blast renewing the past. Give Shane and the guys a call at 260-223-5442. That's DDD Maintenance and Repair.
Hi, this is Joel at Decatur Package Liquors, locally owned since 1965. I promise competitive prices and the best service in town. We offer bulk buy discounts for weddings, graduation parties, and other big celebrations. Special orders are also available and highly recommended. Don't forget about Wine Wednesday, where you get the best savings. Come on, guys, it's where your friends shop.
Decatur Package Liquors, with the best service and variety in town, now with locations in Monroe, Byrne, and Markle.
The staff at Haggard, Hershey, and Zelt Funeral Home is honored to serve the community we love and live in. Locally owned and operated by Ryan Hershey and Eric Zelt, we understand that each family we serve and each life lived tells a unique story. Our goal is to offer comfort, care, and dignity to all who entrust their loved ones to our care. We are proud to call Adams County our home and look forward to serving you for generations to come.
Welcome Back once again to the Hager-Hershey-Zelt High School Wrestling Weekly, hosted by the Double Eagle. Once again, we're live at Double Eagle Clubhouse Grill. I'd like to thank all of our fine sponsors that we play during the break and help bring us wrestling on the radio. And if you go back and listen to the podcast, you realize how professional our commercials are and make this show sound like we know what we're talking about, Dane.
Well, Steve does a great job in recording commercials, as do Dave and Tony G has had some commercials on Saturdays and has done a great job, and we really appreciate their professionalism. We've been recording over the last week at the studio. We've been recording Super Bowl ads.
Really?
We sold out the Super Bowl. So if you're traveling, maybe you are really excited about Usher, as I know you are, for halftime on Sunday, and you're traveling home after you've stayed at your Super Bowl party for the Usher halftime show, make sure you tune in to 92.7 FM. We will have the entire pregame of the Super Bowl all the way through. No high school wrestling weekly next week. We will be on Monday instead.
Hey, Steve, you listen back to the studio. Why don't you text me Frank's number? I want to see if he can come out here next week and if he can hang with Tony Roman. So appreciate it.
We are going to run through the rest of things here at 150 pounds. The matchup for Blake Luganville will be in the first round, 17-17, Isaiah Corba. Now, I know you look at that match and you think, okay, Luganville's been wrestling well, right? 17-17, that's a dub. Well, don't forget that I'm pretty sure Isaiah Corba is the man who stuck Luganville and eliminated him at the Al Smith.
Really?
Now, I was there. I was Matt's side, across from Sean Farrow. I had my camera in my hand. I was looking through the lens. I was zoomed in on a nice cradle that Luganville had, and he was flat. I got the picture. About 20 seconds into that second period, Luganville got turned and got stuck and was eliminated. So I know a lot of people want to talk about qualifying for state. That's the ultimate goal. If Blake Luganville accomplishes one thing on Saturday, it's going to be paying Mr. Corba back for that loss at the Al Smith. And then he can take a deep breath and put his career on the line again and wrestle potentially against the number one ranked wrestler in the semi-state in Brock Hagewood. Now, because of the loss to Corba, those two never met. Luganville didn't wrestle Hagewood. But I do think that Luganville has the capability of winning that one.
Yeah, he has been wrestling really well.
So I don't think that that's necessarily one that you should just write off for the Braves as not having a chance, because I do think that the senior Luganville has really shown some signs of positive wrestling in the last couple weeks. Also at that bracket, Max Byerly from Adams Central, the sophomore, he will take on Ty Galvin from Mechaniqua. Man, Rex, my memory's just not good enough, but if I had 2 seconds, I would tell you.
Well, his second round match, if he would win that, was most likely going to be Aiden Elkins of New Haven, who we saw at the NE8 take Toish to the wire. Also defeated Luganville in the consos.
I am thinking about Byerly and the season that he had, and I know that I called the match that he had against Mechaniqua, and that match was 8-3. Galvin beat him on the match that we called at the New Haven Super 10. So another chance at revenge at 150 pounds for an Adams County wrestler. Going to 157, Isaiah Myers ranked 5th in the semi-state. He's 30-4, the sophomore. He'll take on Connor Kissel, a senior from Marion. A win would likely put him against Kayvon Russell from Fort Wayne Snyder. We saw Russell in the dual meet against Gavin Davis at Belmont in that match, and I really think that if Meyer can hang around in the first and the second period and push Russell to a full 6 minutes, I really think Isaiah has a chance to become a sophomore state qualifier for the Starfires.
Of the people that Gavin Davis has wrestled this year, Isaiah Meyer wrestles as similar to Gavin Davis of anybody he's wrestled. They're both power-packed, strong, quick, and they're high energy, really hit you fast with quick, aggressive takedowns. And I think Myers has a real good chance.
Speaking of Gavin Davis, he's ranked number 2 in the semi-state. He's undefeated for Belmont, the junior. He'll take on Ty Corporal from Eastbrook with 11 losses in the first round. Then he'll have either number 7 Brennan Wicker from Elkhart or number 8 Luke Gleave from Bishop Dwenger. You certainly look for Davis to be a favorite to reach the semifinals, and then he puts it all out on the mat against Mitchell Betts and those two have a lot of history against each other. They know each other really, really well, and that will certainly be a fun one to call if it happens, and we hope it happens.
Betts may or may not have been upset in the championship of the Al Smith, but that is his one loss against, where's that young man from?
That is a good question. Sometimes they stick Rex, and sometimes they just don't. It was Pillow from Maryville who ended up beating him, and then Broadbender, I think, beat Pillow for the title. But, just a year ago, Gavin Davis beat Bo Broadbender at Mishawaka, I believe, on the first day. And that's the number one guy at 157 pounds. So when you talk about contenders, Gavin's right there. 100% healthy Gavin Davis is right there. At 165 pounds, we have Duke Myers. He will take on Luca Hubley, who's 16-13 from Bishop Dwenger. In the next round, he would take on Dallas Plattner from East Noble or Jordan Simon from North Miami. We did not see Duke Myers wrestle Ethan Smith against Snyder. Smith has Cox from Norwell in the first round. Jonathan Flores from Goshen actually gave Duke a really good match up at Goshen, but RJ Trevino, who we just talked to Coach King about, is also on that half of the bracket.
Just one loss.
At 175 pounds, as we scroll down all the way to the bottom, Xavier Palacios will wrestle Hartley Hoover, ranked number 6 in the semi-state from North Miami. Palacios ranked number 7th, so you would figure that's kind of a toss-up. LaPera from New Haven is up there, but then Laish Detweiler from Goshen is there. And, gosh, off the top of my head, I feel like Detweiler pinned Palacios late in the match when they were at Goshen. That was at the end of the second day. I'm pretty sure it was a fall. But, Xavier's dangerous. He gets into those positions like, I challenged Detweiler to choose down against Palacios in the second or the third period and to see what X can do with that cradle. You never know with him. And he's had some really good matches this year.
So here's the one that you've been looking at ever since you texted me that picture when I was coming back from Ohio today. This 190 bracket is scary.
Well, it's insane. And you also have to view it from the lens of the fact that Trevor Curry was a referee's decision away last year from eliminating the semi-state champ in the ticket round. Doesn't advance. And now, after winning regional, he's awarded a ticket round match against either number 1 or number 2. Chad Washburn lost to Austin Ringeisen. I guess that's the silver lining, right? Washburn lost to Ringeisen, and I saw at least, Trevor Curry beat Ringeisen earlier in the year. So I think there is certainly a chance, and maybe it's Washburn who should be upset about the draw that he got, not Curry. But when you look at your regional champ and the ticket round match that they have, and you see that they wrestle either number 1 or number 2 in the semi-state, you think, man, why didn't I lose? And you and I talked about that during the broadcast on Saturday, right? Meanwhile, Bryce Wank is on the other side of the bracket thinking, this is where I wanted to be. Now, Wank doesn't necessarily have it easy. Keith Miller from Northwood beat Cole Mendez earlier in the year, I remember. Mickey Daring from Bishop Lures has had a very good season. He's ranked in the top 20 and a senior from Lures. That's a potential ticket round match. But, man, you just feel for Curry. That's number 1, number 2, and number 3 in our semi-state, all in the same quarter bracket.
Yep.
Only one of them is going to get out. At 215 pounds, Keegan Martin will wrestle Aiden Hunt from Garrett. He's a sophomore, 22-12. It looks like his ticket round match is likely against Jackson Copas, a senior from Central Noble, who is 32-4. Keegan is on the same side as Jelante Hinton, who's ranked number 1 in the semi-state. One of them will be wrestling in the finals, and one of them will be wrestling for 3rd and 4th.
I went to the regional bracket and looked, and Hinton walked through with 3 falls. But he was not challenged. There was no real studs at 215 at the Carroll Regional that really would test him.
Now, I do like Keegan Bloom's draw at 215 pounds. He has Matt Pori from New Haven, 35-10 in the first round, and then the winner of Brady King and of Northwood and Preston Duffy from Manchester. Duffy ranked number 7, so Bloom technically the favorite there by the rankings. So good for him as a senior to be on the right side of the bracket there. And as we go to 285 pounds, Zach Worm ranked 4th in the semi-state. He's going to have to beat James Hartleroad from DeKalb, more than likely, the Goshen champ, to reach the state finals for a second year in a row, although he will have to beat Vincent Park, another senior from Columbia City, in the first round. Way down at the bottom is our pal Grady Baker, who gave a great interview while you were standing in the lunch line on Saturday. Grady, 22-17. That doesn't mean anything. But, Isaiah Kuhlman from Leo is a big boy, and he was the champ at Carroll. He's 24-2, and he kind of falls in line, Rex, with that Juan Cruz body type.
Big, strong kid.
Big, strong, taller than Grady, big-chested, muscular. But once again, if we take a quick count here, of the 16 wrestlers at the Fort Wayne Semi-State, there are 8 seniors and Baker just a sophomore, but Kuhlman also a sophomore. And he's not bumping up to 315 or anything like that. So Grady's going to have to learn how to wrestle up with those guys. And it's been a great season for him. We could have easily written Grady Baker off as a 5th place finisher at the Jay County Sectional. Instead, we're talking about his draw at the Fort Wayne Semi-State.
Yeah, he has really excelled toward the second half of the season, not just at the tournament, but second half of the season. And I think he's had a great season, and he's just a second-year wrestler, basically.
So to wrap up things tonight for our broadcast, please do not miss tomorrow's radio auction. It starts at 7 o'clock on WZBD 92.7 FM. There are some movie tickets out there from Van Wert Cinemas and the Vandale Drive-In. Rex that are out there. There are a ton of restaurant gift certificates, a ton of items from the Granary. All of it can be found on the radio auction tab on WZBD.com. That runs from 7 till about 8:30 tomorrow. Then on Tuesday, we'll have the Matt Painter Show. Coach Painter will be talking about the win over Wisconsin today. We'll have the Pacers after that as they host the Houston Rockets. Then on Thursday, we'll have that big boys basketball game between Belmont and DeKalb. Mike Mockey, Luke Koenig on the call. On Friday night, we'll have the rivalry game between Adams Central and South Adams with Matt Conversay and Luke Koenig. Then on Saturday morning on 92.7 FM, you can hear Coach McClure and Coach Craig talk about the game the night before. And then on Saturday, once that's all done and we've gotten through our 9 o'clock news, you can join us on 92.7 FM for semi-state action the rest of the day. You can also join us for the very start of the day on the YouTube channel. Check those throughout the day if you have technical difficulties. And then on Saturday night, 7 o'clock pregame for the IU Purdue game. Another big one for the Boilermakers.
Well, that was a lot of information jam-packed into one show. And Dane, like you said, we got one left down at the state finals, pre-match before the big tournament. They're going to set us up outside the venue like we always do. And that's always a fun one to do. We always have some pretty much dignitaries come in and stop in and run a show. You got them lined up yet?
We're working on it. Don't forget that next week on Sunday we got the Super Bowl. Our show will be on Monday, and we'll be live here from the Double Eagle Clubhouse Grill, and we'll have all of the state brackets to go over. We will hopefully have phone calls in like we did last year to all of our local wrestlers. We talked to coaches in those areas of the guys that they wrestled. That was a great show last year and a lot of fun as we learn a little bit about those opponents that our Adams County wrestlers have on the Friday afternoon round at the state finals at Evansville.
We kind of use them coaches to scope out the pre-match, don't we?
Yeah, that is a lot of fun to do. So we thank you for joining us on the show, and we thank Steve for running the board back at the studio in the Imaginary Mountain in Bern. And we'll see you next Saturday from the Coliseum live on the YouTube channel just before 8:30.
I'd like to thank all of our fine guests that stayed with us here for the rest of the show, and you've been listening to High School Wrestling Weekly on WZBD.